Hey guys, what's up? Darcy here at 6 Strings 9 Lives. As promised, this year I will be doing more new album reviews opposed to, just showing something in an update. And what a way to start off the year. The mighty Saxon 24th studio album, Hell, Fire, and Damnation. 45 years of recording and 24 studio albums, plus a couple covers albums. What a track record we have. I am super pumped to start off the year talking about this album. I'm not a day one review guy. This has been out for over a week now, and I've listened to it going on 21, 22 times now throughout the whole thing. 42 minutes long, which is actually 2 minutes less than their average of 44 minutes for all of those albums. And a band that really knows how to put an album together. I think out of those 24 albums, they've never broke 55 minutes. I think 4 out of those albums have hit the 50 to 55 minute, but mostly they're in that 42 to 44 minute range, which is perfect in my opinion, but that's kind of the comfortable spot for me. This album, it actually doesn't even seem like 42 minutes. It starts off with a kind of a spoken word intro by Brian Blessed, English actor, cool, deep voice, awesome. But then it goes into the 9 songs, which out of those 9 songs, there is no second wasted. We'll talk about that too. And then it's over. It's like, I want to put this back on again. So it doesn't even, what I'm saying, it just doesn't feel like 42 minutes. There's the back cover. So first full album to not feature Paul Quinn since basically day one. In comes Brian Tatler from Diamond Head. You obviously, if you're watching this, you probably know what band Brian came from, I'm not sure if Diamond Head is still rolling. I think they are, but hopefully Brian is a full-time, long-term member of Saxon. Great. Actually, you couldn't have found a better replacement. Perfect replacement. Doug Scarrett, been in the band since Unleash the Beast, so that's 27 years. Biff Byford, day one. Nigel Glockler on drums. He has been on 16 out of 24 of these studio albums. He didn't join the band until Power and the Glory, replacing original drummer Pete Gill. And then you got Nibs Carter on bass, who's been in the band for 33 years. First album he joined on was Solid Ball of Rock, which any of you Saxon fans know that he wrote at least half of that album. And at that time, injecting some new blood into the band, just like Brian is now. Awesome artwork. This is not a Paul Gregory. I forget the artist that did this. It's actually in the credits, but I love the black, the red. It's kind of just a flip it over from Carpe Diem. And Carpe Diem is a great album too, but I would say this one is even better. This, I'll go as far as to saying, I didn't want to come into this review and say this is the best thing, but I think a better word for this would be, this is the most balanced album from Saxon since probably Lionheart, to be honest with you. Lionheart, The Inner Sanctum, right in there. And what I mean about balance, it is actually the 9 full tracks with lyrics they're just awesome. There's no wasted track. There's no roadie song like on Thunderbolt. There's no standing in a key like on Sacrifice. There's none of that. So let me show you what came with this vinyl version. Great inner. So here's your lineup, which we talked about, and credit to Paul Quinn. Also, he does 2 solos. He is on Fire and Steel and Supercharger. There's the backside, and the lyrics, you can read them great. This is sturdy paper. And what they did on here is they broke out all the solos. For example, on the first song they released, a few months ago, Hellfire and Damnation, we got Doug first solo, Brian second solo, and and second, what was that? There's Something in Roswell, first solo Doug, second solo Brian, and then they show actually Fire and Steel has all three. Paul is included, so we got Doug, Brian, and Paul doing solos on that, and then Supercharger is just Doug and Paul. But yeah, and we'll show you the vinyl. This is the black vinyl version. Center rings are pretty cool. Just some of the artwork, a bit of a glare there, sorry on that. And yeah, I like the dark cover. It fits the album feel to me. This one, even though I really enjoyed 2022's Carpe Diem, this is on the heavier side. And fifth album with Andy Sneap now, so Sacrifice came out, is quite a heavy album. Battering Ram also heavy elements, not heavy throughout the whole thing. And then you get into Thunderbolt, which is on the heavy side, but you got some other kind of variety on that album too. And then I would say when you got into Carpe Diem, it actually, to me, it reminded me more of Call to Arms. Still got the great riffs, don't get me wrong there, but a little more laid back, a little more variety. You got a song like the title track, and then The Pilgrimage, which felt more like a throwback to the Crusader days. But anyways, let's get into this one. We'll go over some tracks. Like I said, probably the most balanced album since Lionheart, which I love that album. I'll give it a couple of months, but I do need to update my Saxon ranking to include Carpe Diem and the new one. And yeah, like I said, I am really impressed with this. Probably the most consistent discography in my whole collection. 24 studio albums, 45 years of recording. Yeah, really quite a feat, actually. I hold these guys up with Maiden and Priest. They're, for my traditional metal, those are top three. I love Saxon, been listening to them for years. So yeah, the album starts off with The Prophecy. That's the spoken word, kind of a build-up, kind of like Olympus Rising right into Thunderbolt, or on Sacrifice you had Procession right into Sacrifice, ripping right into that great riff of the first track they released, Hellfire and Damnation, which when I first heard it, it got me even more excited. I think at that point I didn't really know that Brian was a permanent replacement, because that's how it feels, because he appears in the video for this. Paul does not. Track 3, Madame Guillotine. And I'll throw it in there too. What you're going to get with Saxon on most of their stuff, they're a riff-based band. Lyrics and melodies from Biff are fantastic. He still sounds awesome. I'm listening to Saxon's debut in the background, and obviously he sounds younger, because, what was he, probably 25 years old, something like that, when he was singing here. But anyways, Biff still sounds great. But what you're going to get to with a Saxon album and Biff's lyrics is it's a history lesson. This whole album is full of that. And then there's a couple, kind of typical Saxon songs thrown in there, which we'll talk about too. And I've heard people say this album's a return to form. You know what? In order to return to form, that means you would have had to have been out of form. And to me, that's complete bullshit, because Saxon, like I said, consistent. Yeah, they've tried things. They've had some, kind of commercial flops, albums like Destiny, things like that. But overall, just a super consistent discography. And if you want to say you know what you're getting with Saxon, I might even disagree with that, because this one has already exceeded my expectations. But yeah, right into another track, and what I said before, like a typical type of Saxon song would be Fire and Steel. Starting off with a great riff. And who came, I don't know what Brian came into the into the writing process with, but Hell, Fire and Damnation riff was his for sure. Fire and Steel, great track. And when I heard the second release song from this album prior to this album coming out, which was There's Something in Roswell, initial thoughts, I was like, I don't know about this one. But man, did it grow on me fast. It's so catchy and groovy. And you know what? And again, I love the storytelling. Saxon is probably one of those bands where I actually do pay more attention to the lyrics than other bands, because the lyrics are just so fitting. I know most of the music's written before the lyrics come in, but it almost feels like the other way around, that the music was built around the lyrics, if you know what I'm saying. Flip over to the B-side, one of my favorite tracks, Kubla Khan and the Merchants of Venice. That is I'm not going to say typical Saxon song, but the riff is so great. Drums and bass, the bottom end of this band, Nigel and Nibs, fantastic. But yeah, Kubla Khan and the Merchants of Venice, check that one out. Pirates of the Airwaves, it starts off the riff starts off out of stereo, not for long, and then it immediately kicks in with bass and drums into the riff in stereo, and then just tears into the song. Good story on that one too. And probably the heaviest track on this album is 1066. It is the heaviest track. Check that one out for sure. One of my personal favorites is Witches of Salem. That right away, the groovy, it's got a groove to it. It's not a head banging type of track. It's kind of a get you swaying around, that type of heavy. But it reminded me more of older Saxon stuff. Witches of Salem, check it out. This album ends with Supercharger, which Saxon do throw in those kind of songs, like Carpe Diem had a song called, Supernova. That fits into there. Thunderbolt had Speed Merchants. They, you know what I'm saying? They have one of those type of songs. So to put that as the last track, perfect. It ends on a speedy track and, speedy theme, whatever you want to say. But yeah, if you're a fan of Saxon in any shape or form, you need to go out and get this album. I give it very high praise. Let me know what you think in the comments. Still, I think Biff just turned, 72 or 73? Still out there doing what they love to do. I personally hope they're still around for, a couple more albums. I know age is not on our sides. I mean, not on my side either, but I am going to enjoy the ride until it ends. And if an album like this, it just makes me happy to hear something this good. It's charting in several countries, which is a great sign too. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. What else? We still have the new Judas Priest. Of course, that's my favorite band of all times is Judas Priest. I am really looking forward to that one. The new Bruce Dickinson, which the second single, I don't know, it was a little, I don't know if I really like it. I definitely don't hate it. I did like the first song, The Afterglow of Ragnarok, better, but yeah, whatever. It'll grow on me. What else do we have coming out? New Blaze Bayley. If you guys are, into some Blaze Bayley, I did enjoy his last album too. But yeah, so that's kind of my, initial thoughts. 20, 21, 22 listens. I'm going to put this on again. And like I said earlier, that 42 minutes goes by really quick. Overall, a heavier feel than Carpe Diem. Nothing against that album. It was awesome. But yeah, heavier feel to this. Just the most balanced album I've heard from Saxon since probably Lionheart. And yes, I will definitely get that Saxon ranking done. Just give me a couple of months. I want to make sure that this is, I know exactly where this is going to fit. But that is it for today. Hope you enjoyed that one. Until next time, stay heavy.